Thanks so much for joining us for another edition of KFFB's Open Mic program all week long. Dennis has been sitting in the booth with us. He's the warning coordination meteorologist, mouthful, for the National Weather Service in Little Rock. It's Severe Weather Awareness Week. We're going to talk about watches and warnings. Let's see. People hear us talk on the radio all the time. They hear the watches, they hear the warnings, they hear the tornado warnings, the thunderstorm warnings, and also you even have some winter watches that we have to do
absolutely.
as well. So let's talk about them. Let's start with the watches. What can we expect?
When we issue a watch, it means conditions are favorable for whatever we're issuing the watch for. So if it's severe thunderstorms, we're expecting conditions favorable for bad, dangerous storms. Tornado watches, conditions are favorable for storms that could produce tornadoes. And of course, winter weather, if we issue a watch, it's for a big storm system that could produce lots of snow, sleet, or freezing rain and ice. But all watches doesn't mean anything's happening right now. It just means the conditions have all come together. So if we get a storm, it's probably going to be dangerous. But that's all a watch means, is get ready. Doesn't mean anything has happened yet.
That's same as a winter weather watch.
Yeah, that's true. So when we issue a winter weather watch, it could be 24 to 36 hours before anything happens. So, based on Arkansas, heck, we could be 70 degrees and issuing a winter storm watch. And then, 2 or 3 days from now, we get a huge snowstorm. So when we issue the watch, it's just get prepared. Doesn't mean it's happening yet, but we can see that it's very likely to happen. And so that's why we issue the watches for those events.
How does that follow in the winter with the travel advisories? You have a winter weather travel advisory. They change different characteristics of that as well.
Yeah. So basically, if we issue like a winter weather advisory, we're expecting enough snow, sleet, or freezing rain to cause a nuisance, but not totally shut down your travel. I guess your route to work or your route to church or school. Basically, bridges and overpasses will be slick. Generally speaking, if you take your time, you'll get where you're going okay. If we issue a warning, that's when we expect more of a major disruption to your ability to move around. Roads could actually become impassable. You could be stuck in your home for a couple of days, especially in the event of an ice storm. When we issue a warning, we're just expecting higher impacts than when we issue an advisory.
You got tornado warnings and thunderstorm warnings.
Yeah.
What's the difference between those two?
So when we issue a warning, that's when we want folks to take action right now. So a warning means that we've either seen something on radar that's dangerous or indicative of a storm very close to your location, or somebody in the community has actually reported severe weather or even a tornado, and it's headed your way. So when we issue a warning, that means take action. That's what we want folks to do. We want folks to, they're outdoors, get inside, get into a safe shelter or safe room, especially in the event of a tornado warning. You really need to pick out a safe shelter so that you and your family can stay safe. The tornado might destroy your home, but if you're in the right part of your home, the walls will absorb the damage and it won't hit you. And we can always rebuild the walls, but we can't rebuild people. So it's all about giving people the information they need to make good decisions before something bad happens.
Our fifth day of the severe weather awareness. When I got in radio, it's 39 years ago, believe it or not. I was just a kid in high school, and they had the AP machine that would teletype, and it would 60 words a minute.
Yeah.
But if they ding, you had a warning, it might be 4 or 5 minutes before it came through because it had all this other stuff that was already in its memory.
Oh, sure.
So you had to rely on the NOAA weather radio, and then when it go off, you'd write down and go get an update, and then you wait for the teletype to actually give you a little more detail.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of hard to do shorthand. And just think how things have changed now at our fingertips. I mean, you've got a lot of social media.
Yeah, there's and you can get warnings on apps now. There's lots of local TV stations have apps where you can get warnings, or other private weather companies. You can have radar on your phone. You can still use the weather radio, of course, and get information that way. But now, your phone, if you have a smartphone, it'll automatically alert for flash flood warnings and tornado warnings. So even if you've downloaded nothing, at least you'll get the worst of the warnings that we issue.
Now, when you look at the warning, now this is going into the weeds for some people, and they're going to probably just get really starry-eyed and kind of getting sleepy. But you're the guy that's going to set out the warning. That's your job. So if a warning comes up, how does that warning hit all the social media, the NOAA weather radio? How does all that happen at once? Describe a warning process.
Sure. So in our office, we have a software package called WarnGen. Gives us the ability to draw a box around a dangerous storm. We use a formatter to say what we think is going to happen. So tornado warning, severe thunderstorm warning. And then we can list the criteria, like golf ball size hail, 80-mile-an-hour winds, or tornado or tornado observed, things like that. Add some more detail. A lot of that text comes auto-populated. We can edit it if we want. If we know a community is in the direct path of a tornado, we might edit that and put that in there. But basically, the text pops up real quick. We hit send, and it's transmitted simultaneously on the internet to lots of different platforms. Weather radio, of course, your cell phones have an app that'll give you your alert via your app. It just sends out everything in many different channels all at once. We love Facebook, but Facebook shuts us down if we issue too many warnings. So we can't put warnings on Facebook or else nobody will be able to see them. But we use Twitter, and of course, our warnings automatically go out through lots of different communication channels as soon as we hit send. Almost instantaneous. Most people will get a warning within 30 seconds of us hitting send.
Amazing story. It's amazing. I mean, being that little 14 or 15-year-old, that's actually when the tornado hit Hardy. I was on the air when they hit Hardy. Almost every tornado I've been on the air during it, but I remember that was one that was pretty scary because I was like the only one broadcasting it. Kind of like the ice storm back in 2009. We were about the only station that was on the air, and, you know, it's kind of scary when you get that information. But our link with you guys, I mean, that's where I rely on. I mean, there's all the information comes directly from because you've got all the team there. And when bad weather comes in, you bring them all in.
We do. We bring in all the meteorologists we have, and we're just a public safety organization. So what you have at the Weather Service, you know, we're not out to get ratings or anything else. When we issue warnings, it's just with public safety in mind. So we've all got degrees and lots of training in meteorology, and it may not always look the prettiest. That's not our job, but we detect the warnings, we issue them, and let people know what's headed their way. And then, of course, it's up to broadcast media like you and our television partners to make it, you know, understandable, make it interesting, make it look good so people understand what to do and they take action. We rely on you guys quite a bit to help disseminate the warnings. We're the science nerds, but you guys are the better communicators.
Well, that's our direct link with you guys, and we're backed up on generators, and we've been on all that. And, you know, you cannot generate power cheaper than the co-op, that's for sure, or energy and all those guys. And that's one thing we got to say. Well, it's Severe Weather Awareness Week. We've been talking with Dennis Cavanaugh. He is the warning coordination meteorologist with the National Weather Service in Little Rock. And as always, Dennis, thanks for dropping by and talking with us this whole week.
Yeah, Bob, and thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak with all your listeners. I really appreciate it.
All right, you can find this at kffb.com and also our YouTube channel.